Today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. We'll take a trip down to the manager's office to hear from Mike Shildt. Plus, we'll bring you scores from around Major League Baseball. The Padres postgame show starts now on the Padres Radio Network.
We are live here at Petco Park. The final score here today in the rubber game of this three-game series, the Giants 7 and the Padres 6. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap things up on this Sunday afternoon. Frustrating final game of this series and this homestand for the Padres as the Giants take 2 out of 3 in this three-game set. Padres all of a sudden have lost 3 of their last 4 games. Padres fall to 81-64 with the defeat. Giants improve to 71-73. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll recap this game from start to finish. All the radio highlights for you. Get into the out-of-town scoreboard and much, much more to come as we bring you up towards Sunday Night Football tonight. The Rams and the Lions in Detroit. So this will be a bit of a shorter post-game show. But just to get into it quickly here, this game really came down to a couple of elements. Joe Musgrove was really, really sharp through the first 3 innings of this game. He was 9 up, 9 down. In fact, 10 up, 10 down after he got the first out of the 4th inning. And the complexion of this game totally changed when Musgrove gave up 7 consecutive hits in the 4th inning. The Giants in the process took a 6-0 lead. That included 3 home runs in that span of 7 batters. And it was really a game of playing catch-up the rest of the afternoon for the Padres. And look, the Padres, to their credit, did battle back in this game. They made it 6-1, then they trailed 7-1. They scored 3 runs in the 7th inning. They got 2 more in the 8th inning on a Xander Bogaerts home run to make it 7-6. In fact, they had the tying run on base in the 8th inning, but they just could not find a way to climb the mountain today. Again, trailing 6-0 at one point, trailing 7-1. They got to within 1, but they could not mount the rally and come all the way back to tie it or take a lead. So that's the way it goes here today. We'll get into all of it when we return as the Padres drop the final game of this series to the Giants. More post-game after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score, Giants 7 and the Padres 6 as the Giants take 2 out of 3 this weekend here in downtown San Diego. Padres winning on Friday night but unable to win last night, and then the Giants taking the rubber match of this 3-game series here today. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We'll get into our daily awards. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard as we walk you up towards Sunday Night Football tonight. That'll air right here on 97.3 The Fan. The Rams and the Lions kicking off at 5:20 local time here in San Diego. So a bit of a shorter edition of our post-game show today, but let's recap this game from start to finish.
What moments had the biggest impact on today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game recap on the Padres Radio Network.
The early story for the Padres today was Joe Musgrove. He was dealing early on. A 1-2-3 first inning, a 1-2-3 second. He struck out the side in the top of the third. 9 up, 9 down, 5 strikeouts. The problem was that Giants starter Spencer Bivens was keeping the Padres off the scoreboard as well. He threw 3 scoreless innings to begin his afternoon. We still had a scoreless game going to the 4th inning. Musgrove struck out the first batter he faced, but then Elliot Ramos reached on a routine fly ball to right field. Fernando Tatis Jr. couldn't find it in the sun. It dropped in for what would be ruled a double. Matt Chapman was next.
Matt Chapman at the plate. First pitch swinging. High fly ball to deep left field. This one is not going to be caught. It is a home run. 2-run bomb for Matt Chapman, his 23rd home run of the season, and the Giants all of a sudden have a 2-0 lead in the 4th.
So just like that, a fly ball that fell in because of the sun, a home run. Giants had a 2-0 lead. Unfortunately, they were far from done. Michael Conforto singled, Tyler Fitzgerald singled, Gerard Encarnacion then dug in.
1-0, swung on, driven to left field and deep. All that Jurickson Profar can do is stand there and watch as that ball lands in the second deck out in left field. And all of a sudden, the Giants have a 5-0 lead over the Padres here in the 4th.
Things have changed in a hurry.
Yes, they did change in a hurry. Next up was Luis Matos.
Brano not able to make the play. This one swung on, again well hit. Jurickson Profar going back. He looked up. This one is gone. Back-to-back home runs for the Giants. They have a 6-0 lead on the 5th long ball of the season for Luis Matos, and this inning just continues to unravel for Joe Musgrove.
Marco Luciano then doubled. The Giants had 7 consecutive hits against Joe Musgrove. Luciano was stranded at second, but it was still a 6-run inning. Giants had a 6-0 lead after 3.5. The Padres still trailed 6-0. Going bottom 5, Jackson Merrill led off.
1-0 offering. Fly ball, left field. Pretty well hit. Going back is Ramos. He's at the warning track at the wall. It's gone. Home run for Jackson Merrill. 23rd of the season. And the Padres deficit is cut to 6-1.
So Jackson Merrill, a very, very nice moment. Like Bob said, his 23rd home run of the season, and the Padres had a little something going. It was now 6-1. Alec Jacob had replaced Musgrove in the 5th inning. He allowed a solo home run to Kurt Casale in the top of the 6th inning. Giants got that run right back. They led 7-1. Jacob pitched the scoreless top of the 7th inning. The score was still 7-1 as we went to the bottom half of the 7th. The Padres got a rally going against former Padre Taylor Rogers. Jackson Merrill and Donovan Solano walked. Luis Ariz hit a single to load the bases with 1 out. Bob Melvin went to the other Rogers brother, right-hander Tyler Rogers. Fernando Tatis Jr. struck out for out number 2, but then a wild pitch brought Merrill home from third base. It was a 7-2 game. On that wild pitch, the other 2 runners moved up to second and third. Jurickson Profar was at the plate.
1-0 offering, swung on, popped up, right side, on the infield. The second baseman and shortstop both calling for it. They collide, and the ball is going to land safely on the ground. Both runs are going to score. Jurickson's going to head to second base, and the Padres rally continues thanks to some help by the Giants on a pop-up that should have been caught. Bad communication. It falls.
So that error by the shortstop Tyler Fitzgerald led to 2-run scoring. It was all of a sudden a 7-4 game. Just a pop-up that dropped in. Luciano and Fitzgerald colliding, and it hit the grass in shallow right field. Manny Machado grounded out to end the inning, but the Padres were back in it trailing 7-4. Jason Adam kept it 7-4 by pitching a 1-2-3 top of the 8th inning. We went bottom 8. Camilo Doval entered from the Giants bullpen. Jake Cronenworth led off with a single. Xander Bogaerts was next. The count went to 3-2.
3-2 pitch again to Xander. Swung on. High drive to deep left field. Going backward is Ramos. He looks up. It's gone. 2-run home run for Xander Bogaerts. His 9th long ball of the season. It reaches the second deck in left field, and the Padres now trail 7-6.
With 1 out, David Peralta walked to put the tying run on base. Tyler Wade pinch ran. The Giants went to Ryan Walker out of the bullpen. Walker picked Wade off first base. That was a huge play to get the tying run off the base paths. Donovan Solano then grounded out. The inning was over. The Padres still trailed 7-6. Tanner Scott came on for the top of the 9th inning. He pitched a scoreless frame. In the bottom half of the 9th, it was Ryan Walker who stayed on for the save opportunity. Luis Suarez grounded out. Fernando Tatis Jr. grounded out. The game was left up to Jerks and Profar.
Right-handers 2-1 offering. Swung on, driven down the right field line and deep. Going back for it is Yastrzemski in foul territory, reaches up and makes the catch for the final out. Jerkson gave it a ride, but Mike Yastrzemski able to run it down in foul territory right next to the wall for the final out, and the Padres are going to come up short in their come-from-behind bid. They lose the final game to the Giants by a score of 7-6. They drop the series 2-1.
And that was that. The Padres come within a run. They did have the tying run on base, the go-ahead run at the plate in the 8th inning, but they could not get that one big swing to put them ahead or at the very least tie the game. Final score here today, Giants 7 and the Padres 6. For the Giants, 7 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors. For the Padres, 6 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. Again, the Padres dropped to 81-64. They've now lost 3 out of their last 4 games. Giants improved to 71-73. Winning pitcher here today was Eric Miller, who improves to 4-5. Joe Musgrove took the defeat. He drops to 5-5. When we come back, we'll get into our daily awards. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up a little bit later as well. Again, the final score in the rubber match of this 3-game set, Giants 7 and the Padres 6 on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score here tonight, Giants 7 and the Padres 6 as the Padres drop 2 out of 3 from the San Francisco Giants. Padres will head to Seattle. They have an off day tomorrow, and we'll play 2 games in Seattle Tuesday and Wednesday, and off day Thursday, then 3 more against the Giants Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. We'll get into our daily awards here in just a moment. Again, Joe Musgrove taking the loss in this game. He gave up 6 earned runs on 8 hits in 4 innings and a third. It was a weird outing for Joe. It really was. He was great. I mean, locked in early on. 10 up, 10 down to start the game when he got the first out of the 4th inning. He struck out 6 in the first 10 batters, but then a routine fly ball to right field. Fernando Tatis Jr. couldn't find it in the sun. It dropped in for what was ruled the double for Elliot Ramos, and the whole outing for Joe changed from that moment on. Then a home run to Chapman, single, 3-run home run given up to Encarnacion. Then a home run to Matos as they went back to back, and just like that, it was a 6-0 game. All in all, 7 consecutive hits for the Giants in that 4th inning. And like we illustrated in the game recap, then it became a game of catch-up for the Padres today, and they got close. They trailed 6-0. They trailed 7-1. They got within a run, but they could not find a way to ultimately tie this game as the Giants win it 7-6. There were some good performances out of the Padres bullpen here today. Let's tell you about our relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher was able to come in and slam the door shut? It's time for the relief pitcher of the game in support of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, providing food assistance to local children, families, and seniors in need. To get help or give help, visit SanDiegoFoodBank.org.
Our relief pitcher of the game today have a couple of options, certainly on the Padres side of things, so we'll keep it on the Padres side of things. Jason Adam, Tanner Scott, both good in their respective innings, a scoreless inning for both. Adam in the 8th inning, Scott in the 9th inning. I'll tell you what, Alec Jacobs did a good job. I know he gave up the solo home run to Casale to make it 7-1, but he did go 2 2/3 innings. He did throw 44 pitches, and he kept the deficit around where it was despite giving up the home run, although the home run ended up sort of being the winning run in this game, the 7th run the Giants scored. So I think it's a little hard to give it to Jacob today. So let's go with Jason Adam. Why not? He was really good in the 8th inning, and that was a big inning as well because the Padres had just made it 7-4. They were building some momentum after a 3-run 7th inning, and he kept it a 7-4 game. Then Bogaerts hits the home run in the 8th inning to make it a 1-run game, and Adam kept it where it was. So for that reason, 2 strikeouts for Adam in that 8th inning as well. Jason Adam will be our relief pitcher of the game. When we come back, a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll also tell you about our player of the game. We'll hear our play of the game coming up a little bit later as well. Final score here today, Giants 7 and the Padres 6. Our post-game show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Final score here today, Giants 7 and the Padres 6. Padres dropped to 81-64 on the year. Giants improved to 71-73 as the Giants take 2 out of 3 from the Padres this weekend. Padres winning on Friday night, a 5-1 win, and you certainly felt like this was a good opportunity to win a series, take 2 out of 3. In fact, for the Padres, it is just their, let's see here. It is their 4th series loss in their last 15. They were going for 12 series wins in their last 15 here today. So, look, the Padres obviously have played very, very well since the All-Star break. Does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity after winning the first game of this series against the Giants team that was not playing very well coming into this series, but is what it is. It is the month of September. You don't have time to dwell on it. Day off tomorrow, and the Padres begin a road trip in Seattle on Tuesday as the Padres, again, we'll get to the out-of-town scoreboard here in a second, but they will maintain one way or another the top wild card spot in the National League at the end of this weekend. Again, we'll have a full update on the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a moment here, and we'll also update you on the full MLB standings, what's going on in the wild card and the division. There certainly were a couple of bright spots in this game, really a few bright spots in this game offensively, in case you're just joining us. Number one, Luis Arraez had 3 hits in this game, including a run scored. Arraez, after his 3-hit day, it is, let me make sure I have the right note here. Arraez now has 5 multi-hit games in his 8-game hitting streak. He also surpassed his career mark from 2023 with his 56th multi-hit game of the year. It was also the 6th time in Arraez's career that he's logged 3+, or I should say, consecutive games with 3 or more hits, because he had 3 hits yesterday and had 3 hits here today. So all in all, and we talked about it pregame, we've talked about it over the course of the last handful of days, Luis has been swinging a really good bat. The other bright spots in this game offensively, Jackson Merrill, his 23rd home run solo shot in the 5th inning, and then Xander Bogaerts, a big swing, made it a 1-run game, went from 7-4 to 7-6 with his solo home run in the 8th inning, but unfortunately, Padres pulled within 1. That's as close as they would get here today. And by the way, Merrill, with that 23rd home run of the year, he's now tied with Jed Jerko for the 3rd most home runs by a Padres rookie in franchise history. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. Dodgers beat the Guardians 4-0 in L.A. Shohei Ohtani, his 46th home run of the season in that Dodger win. Tigers beat the A's 9-1 in Oakland. Rangers beat the Angels 7-4 in Arlington. Cubs beat the Yankees 2-1 in Chicago. Mariners beat the Cardinals 10-4 in St. Louis. Royals over the Twins in Kansas City 2-0. Rockies beat the Brewers 4-1 in Milwaukee. Marlins beat the Phillies 10-1 in Miami. The Reds beat the Mets 3-1 in New York. The Pirates beat the Nationals 7-3 in Pittsburgh. Braves beat the Blue Jays 4-3. Final in 11 in Atlanta today. White Sox beat the Red Sox 7-2 at Fenway Park. Rays beat the Orioles 2-0 in Baltimore. And finally, only game going on right now, Sunday Night Baseball in Houston. Diamondbacks ahead of the Astros 3-0 early in that one in the 2nd. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. So, at the moment, here's what the wild card standings look like. And again, the Diamondbacks are still playing against the Astros right now. But at the moment, Padres will maintain that top wild card spot at the end of today, no matter what happens with the Diamondbacks and the Astros. At the moment, they have a game lead over the Diamondbacks. If the Diamondbacks win, that would be down to a half game over Arizona. If Arizona loses, that would revert back to a game and a half. Atlanta and New York, with Atlanta winning today and the Mets losing, The Mets and the Braves are now tied for that third and final wild card spot once again, and then you have the Cubs on the outside looking in all the way back 5 games out. They're sort of out of it, at least for the moment at this point. So again, Padres at the moment, game ahead of Arizona. That'll either be a half game ahead if the Diamondbacks win, game and a half ahead if they lose, and then you have the Braves and the Mets tied for that third and final wild card spot. The Padres 2 games ahead of both those teams. So that's the way it looks in the wild card as far as the division. With the Dodgers winning, Padres losing, Padres drop to 6 games behind the LA Dodgers for first place in the National League West. Final score here today, Giants 7 and the Padres 6. Let's tell you about today's player of the game.
Which player had the biggest impact on today's game? Let's find out who is today's player of the game. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Catch every game at Patties and Pints. Plus, enjoy $4 beer every Thursday. Visit valleyviewcasino.com today.
Our player of the game here on the Padres radio network. You know what? We'll keep it on the Padres side of things for this one because I don't think we're going to be able to do that for play of the game. So we'll keep it positive for player of the game. You know what? I'll give it to, you could go with a rise with the 3 hits. I'll give it to Xander Bogaerts, the 2-run home run. I mean, that's a big swing. And if the Padres were able to tie this game, take a lead, win this game, you're looking at that Xander swing in a really, not that you're not looking at it in a positive light already, but it becomes a really big moment in this game to make it a 1-run game and really put you right back in it. I mean, it goes from 7-4 to 7-6. So at the time, that felt like a big swing. It was a big swing at the time, and for that reason, we'll give our player of the game to Xander Bogaerts today for that 2-run home run to make it a 1-run game in the 8th inning. And then, of course, after that, look, it happens. You make mistakes on the base paths, and it can come back to bite you. Tyler Wade pinch running for David Peralta after he walked with 1 out later in that inning to put the tying run on base, and Wade got picked off in a spot that you really can't get picked off, and he kind of started to run for second. And then a really good job by Ryan Walker, who got him leaning, although it was a little bit more than a lean if you saw it. I mean, he took a step or 2 towards second base, then Walker made his move on the pickoff attempt, and Wade was caught by quite a margin. So that was a big play. You don't want to get picked off there, obviously representing the tying run, and the Padres would not get another base runner on in this game as they fall by 1 run, 7-6. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll hear our play of the game. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for Tuesday's game in Seattle. We'll also get you to Sunday Night Football coming up right after we're done, and we'll continue to break this one down. Again, the final score, Giants 7, Padres 6. Post-game coverage continues when we return. Our post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we wrap this one up. Final score here today, the Giants 7 and the Padres 6, as the Padres unfortunately dropped 2 out of 3 to the Giants this weekend here in San Diego. Every Sunday is Military Sunday, and we want to take time to recognize and thank all military members for their amazing dedication and service. San Diego County Toyota dealers, proud partners of the Padres, are honored to support San Diego's military community. We'll wrap things up and get you ready for Tuesday's game in Seattle in just a moment. First, let's hear today's play of the game.
What was the crucial play that determined who came out on top? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
1-0, swung on, driven to left field and deep. All that Jurickson Profar can do is stand there and watch as that ball lands in the second deck out in left field. And all of a sudden, the Giants have a 5-0 lead over the Padres here in the fourth.
Things have changed in a hurry.
Our play of the game, unfortunately, here today, it will be the 3-run home run by Encarnacion. Encarnacion. It made it a 5-0 game in that fourth inning. Then Luis Matos had a home run. That made it 6-0. That was in the midst of 7 consecutive hits against Joe Musgrove here today, including 3 home runs in that span in the fourth inning. So not our favorite to list that as our play of the game, but hard not to pick something from that fourth inning, as the complexion of this game really changed in that fourth inning. Again, it was a really weird outing for Joe. He looked locked in. I mean, he looked like he looked on Monday against the Tigers, like he did that start against the Mets where he went 7 scoreless innings. He was 10 up, 10 down with 6 strikeouts to begin the game, and then the missed fly ball in right field by Fernando Tatis Jr. Couldn't see it in the sun, dropped in, was ruled a double. And it just changed after that. The 2-run home run for Chapman, Conforto a single, Fitzgerald a single, 3-run home run for Encarnacion, then Matos a home run, a double for Luciano. It was 7 consecutive hits, and in the process, the Giants took a 6-0 lead. And again, Padres were playing catch-up all afternoon from that point on. They would get 1 run to make it 6-1. Then the home run from Casale made it 7-1 in the 6th inning, and the Padres would get 3 in the 7th inning, 2 in the 8th inning to make it 7-6. But they could not find a way to ultimately tie it, and they fall by that single run here today. I do want to apologize. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties with getting Mike Shildt's audio, his post-game press conference today, so we unfortunately won't have the press conference today. Our apologies for that. I know a lot of people tune in wanting to hear from Mike Shildt, but some technical difficulties today with that. It happens, but we do want to remind you that, of course, as always, our Mike Shildt post-game remarks are brought to you by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game show, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. If you want to go back and watch any portion of our post-game show on our 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel, you can do that as well. Taking a look at what's coming up for the Padres. They have an off day tomorrow. Remember, it's a bit of an interesting week. Off day tomorrow, 2 games against the Mariners on Tuesday and Wednesday in Seattle. Then an off day on Thursday. Then the Padres are playing the Giants Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in San Francisco. Then the Padres return home for a homestand against the Astros and the White Sox beginning on Monday. So off day tomorrow, first pitch on Tuesday at 6:40 p.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 5:40. Again, first pitch on Tuesday at 6:40 p.m. as the Padres will be up in Seattle to take on the Mariners. Taking a look at the final totals here today for the Giants. 7 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors. They left on 4. For the Padres, 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left on 6. Winning pitcher in this game was Eric Miller, who improves to 4-5. Losing pitcher was Joe Musgrove, who drops to 5-5. And the save goes to Ryan Walker, his 7th of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 49 minutes. And the crowd at Petco Park today, the 50th sellout of 2024. 42,996. Once again, first pitch on Tuesday at 6:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Frank Marchese, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score here today, the San Francisco Giants 7 and the San Diego Padres 6. We'll talk to you on Tuesday on the Padres Radio Network. Sunday Night Football, Rams and the Lions in Detroit. Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan.